Hi, everyone, and welcome to the iSpring Solutions webinar series, where every week we talk about e-learning trends, share iSpring tips and tricks, and cover clients' cases. I'm Alice Shaw. I'm a customer success manager at iSpring, and I will be presenting for you today. And today we are going to cover a very interesting topic: how to humanize e-learning. We will talk about the so-called human touch in e-learning and to what degree it's actually important. We'll explain how to humanize e-learning and what can help you to achieve this goal. And we will also share the experience of a real company that achieved enormous success after moving online. Okay, so let's start it. Well, the first point I would like to cover is the top trends in digital learning in 2021. So let's start with emphasis on the science of learning. More and more learning professionals will base their work on learning science when developing training content, which will definitely enhance the quality of the content. And one of the sub-trends here is humanizing online learning. Many experts believe that with the evolution of online learning, training industry professionals must become even more focused on the human factor than ever before. And first and foremost, this trend will influence the quality of learning content. 2021 may be the year we see a significant shift towards a deeper value for learner-centric content, empowered, of course, by technology and innovations that offer increased accommodations for human behavior. The second one is microlearning. We'll see more companies shifting to using e-learning content focused on developing a specific skill, highly targeted to the subject and of shorter duration. The next point is immersive content. A lot of L&D teams will address VR and AR technologies and create learning experiences that closely emulate real-life situations and enable physical practice within them in real time. Chatbots. Chatbots will serve as efficient, intelligent teaching assistants in many educational institutions. They will relieve instructors from regular tasks like answering students' routine questions. The next point is expanded LMS. Learning platforms will continue to expand with new features. The LMS of the future will serve as a solid foundation upon which more layers of functionality will appear. Then we have personalized LMS. An LMS will also serve as a recommendation system. Each learner will be able to get an individualized list of recommended e-courses based on their job position and competencies. And the last but not least is increased data tracking and analysis. Companies will invest more in e-learning technologies that provide better opportunities for the tracking, collection, and analysis of learning data. As you might know, the pandemic forced a lot of organizations to invest in HR tech, and this has led to 70% of the L&D function becoming tech-enabled. Do you think it can be a challenge to engage learners with a digital-led learning culture, which is missing human touch? One of the biggest challenges in e-learning is the absence of a trainer, which can lead to missing the so-called human touch. But allow me to disagree, as I think that a lack of trainer can be a huge advantage, and let me explain what I mean. While in face-to-face training, learners are required to follow the same learning timeline. But every student is different and digests information at a different pace. E-learning allows studying at an individual pace that is suitable for each learner. That leads to stress-free and mentor-free education and therefore better content retention. All this leads to better business results. E-learning helps save time both for the student and the trainer. There is content that can be digested by students on their own, such as lectures, rules, and regulations. There are any remaining questions, an online session if there are any remaining questions, an online session where you will focus only on these questions can be held. And these kinds of brief one-on-one sessions can let learners know that they are not alone and give them a greater feeling of assurance. 5, 10 years ago, we would have had the same question. How can we engage our learners if we are not in classroom, if we don't see them and they don't see us? But now, with all the technology that is available, we should not be worried about not providing truly engaging content. There are so many ways that allows us to interact with the content, such as video lectures, dialogue simulations, branching scenarios, to name a few. Well, I would also like to add here that there are some industries such as manufacturing or healthcare that require hands-on training, and e-learning can provide a safe environment for a continuous learning process. So, how do you think we can humanize e-learning? I can talk forever on this point, but I will try to keep it short. Here are some few features to make your learners feel as though they are watching a live lecture. I would recommend using video and audio narration. Screencasts, another great feature, it can capture your activity on the screen instead of offering a static text. To build conversation simulations that effectively train communication skills, you can use dialogue simulations and characters. You can also use interactions like diagrams, timelines, media cards, and more to present your topic in more engaging and interactive way. You can also use interactive types of questions such as drag and drop, hotspot, typing. All of these require action taken from your learners and keep them alert. And gamification. These can include the question types that I mentioned above, as well as the timer, points, change in a character's emotion, depending, for example, on the action taken, and so on. With quizzes, you can create mini games, flashcards, and other types of great content. And of course, feedback messages. Feedback messages in a course are very important and serve the idea of humanized training just perfectly. All of the above lead to the interaction of our learners with the course. While branching is another great technique that a trainer can include in a course to lead their learners. Branching is much more than just right or wrong answers. It's a path from point A to point B that can include partially correct answers. The only difference here would be that one route would take longer than another, but eventually you will get to point B. That approach definitely can be compared to a situation where a trainer is aware that a learner knows the answer and asks leading questions to get them to the correct answer. Nevertheless, to make the training process more humanized, don't forget to use the blended approach and schedule one-on-one meetings to keep track of learners' progress and try to be there when they need you through a chat or a commenting feature, for example. That definitely helps. We had a great case recently. One of our clients, a large manufacturing company, needed to introduce formal automated onboarding for their employees in order to manage turnover and increase staff efficiency. They also would like to reduce training time and expenses. At the beginning of the company's journey, our client faced specific challenges but managed to overcome them with e-learning. The first challenge in onboarding employees in the manufacturing industry is that there are higher risks and fatal consequences due to mistakes. Our clients designed a mandatory course on hygiene and safety, uploaded it to the LMS, and assigned it to learners before they started their practical tasks. According to our clients, it helped them reduce accidents by 50%. The next challenge that was identified was a discrepancy between employees' initial results and trainers' expectations. Our clients used general guidelines and instructions that were sorted in the knowledge base to which employees had access 24/7. The third challenge um, on the job training is risky, but in manufacturing, it's hard to make training strictly theoretical and blended approach is needed. Our clients scheduled online and in-class sessions through the LMS. Their learners had to read about the process, watch the tutorial, go through a self-check, and only then they were able to perform their task in real life with a supervisor. The next challenge. According to our client, the best way to clarify the expected results and how the processes should be conducted is to develop formal documentation. But most of the materials they had developed so far were in plain text format and were not ready to be turned into actual learning training. Our client used an authoring tool to turn the paper-based reading materials into easy-to-follow interactive courses, how-to videos, and online quizzes. And the final challenge we selected is a lack of comprehensive and objective training tools. Our client implemented the LMS platform that provides enhanced online reporting. In our client's situation, they had one training and development manager, and she was responsible for 50 learners at a time. But all of them felt supported and knew they could ask her any question because she knows how to help. And she knew it because she would go to the report dashboard every day and look at the overall progress of her group of students and could easily find any gaps. So the results were impressive. In 9 months after moving their training online, our clients saved 1,020 hours of work and saved $5,000 each month. But most importantly, they reduced turnover from 18% to zero and reduced onboarding time by 10%. So, our next point is some key attributes one should consider while selecting a digital learning solution. Well, it really depends on what kind of solution you are selecting. An authoring tool, an LMS, a web conferencing platform, or all of these function. But there are some general steps I would recommend following when selecting a digital learning solution. First, identify your needs. Determine your goals and objectives. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve from implementing the learning technology? From the answer, it will become clear what results to look for. Aims should be specific, measurable, achievable, and time limited. Also, know your audience. Knowing your audience will help you better define your learning strategic requirements with a digital learning solution. Next, define learning solutions requirements, functional, technical, and cost requirements. Then, view solution ratings and customer reviews. And the last goal in this step is to get to a short list of 3 or 5 vendors. To achieve this, and I recommend that you browse through vendors' website, test the solution, ask for a use case demonstration. And the last step is to choose a solution. Well, when our clients decide to implement a digital learning solution in their company, they contact us, and instead of suggesting our products right away, we guide our clients through all of these steps and ask clarifying questions in order to help them make an informed decision and choose the right solutions for their needs. It actually takes us 1 week at the most to analyze the client's case, create guidelines with recommendations, and then select the best solution. By the way, we have a collection of free white papers on our website that help to select the right LMS, authoring tool, launch new employee onboarding, and so on. I will definitely share the link later today on our chat. And our last point is challenges in the current digital learning solutions, which deter the adoption of learning tools. I think the biggest challenges that prevent the adoption of learning tools are a lack of time and human resources. Now, in a COVID situation, many companies are facing an urgent need to switch training from offline to online quickly. But it always takes some time to adopt new technologies, create learning programs, and start employee training. Plus, not everyone who is engaged in training knows how to work with course authoring tools and LMSs. And many of the digital learning solutions are aimed at professionals with a lot of experience. That's why, for many companies with no previous experience in e learning, it becomes a real problem to adopt learning tools. So, the solution is to select tools with little or no learning curve that have a user-friendly interface and are easy to use and provide users with technical support. So again, you are welcome to use our white papers to learn how to choose the right digital learning solution for your needs. Okay, so today we covered several effective ways to bring more humanization to e-learning, found out what features you can use to humanize online courses, learned a user experience of our clients who moved to learning online, and got a couple of practical tips on how to find the best e learning solution for your company. So now I'm ready to a Q&A session. Mhm. So there is a question from Carrie. What's your thought about integrating live web streaming into e-learning? For example, Microsoft Teams, which has live captioning as well. Well, thank you for your question, Carrie. I think that it's really great when you use live sessions during your training course. It's kind of blended learning. So when your training consists of 2 parts. For example, the first part is theoretical and mandatory, let's say. So your learners need to complete courses first, and then you invite them to a live session or face-to-face session. So it's kind of blended learning, and I think that it makes uh, training more effective. And as far as I know, yeah, some LMSs has such capability, so they allow you to create blended learning track that will consist of training courses, um, and then you can also include online trainings to the same learning track. Mhm. Let me see. Jessica is asking, could you explain authoring tools a bit more? Well, an authoring tool is a tool that will allow you to create interactive content. Um, for example, we have an authoring tool, iSpring Suite, built in to PowerPoint. So actually, all you need to do is just to create a PowerPoint presentation, and then you can enhance it uh, by adding interactive elements like quizzes, interactions, dialogue simulations, screencasts, and much more. And then this content can be shared with your audience. So yeah, an authoring tool is actually a tool that will help you to work on developing interactive content. Um, you are more than welcome to check out our authoring tool on our website. We call it iSpring Suite. So we have a free trial. So you're welcome to play around with it and see how it works. What's great in it is that it's a PowerPoint add-in, so there is no learning curve at all. If you know how to use iSpring, if you know how to use PowerPoint, you will know how to use iSpring. Yes, there are also other authoring tools like Captivate, Articulate Storyline. Carrie is asking, are there any examples of organizations using e-learning fully for competency based learning? Example, the assessments component would be difficult. Well, yes, there are companies who used e-learning or a learning management system for um, competency-based learning. So they develop courses, mandatory courses, and then like upload these courses to a learning management system and assign these courses to the audience. And if they complete this, if the learners complete the course, they issue certificates. As for the assessments component, it there are different ways actually to create assessment. If we talk about our iSpring tools, you can create them in iSpring Quizmaker. There are different types of questions available, so you can create very interactive quizzes, and also you can create quizzes or like assignments in iSpring Learn. We have a question from Iran. Iran is asking, what is your advice on creating the content to be more interactive to students? Well, thank you for your question. To make your content more engaging, attractive for your learners, I would recommend using um, interactive elements such as quizzes with different interactive types of questions like drag and drop, sequence, hotspot, matching, and so on. Then you can use dialogue simulations to for example, to train communication skills of your learners. You can also bring a character, and that you can use this character throughout your course and change his emotion or her emotion. Then you can definitely use screencasts and interactions. What else? Gamifications with pages, for example, and award points. And of course, you can use feedback messages to actually to humanize like your training. For example, you can add feedback messages for correct, incorrect answers. Okay, I think that we covered all the questions. Mhm. So, thank you guys for being so active. Hope you enjoyed this webinar and uh, hope it was productive. If you want to learn more about iSpring tools, you're welcome to check out our website and play around with our authoring tool, iSpring Suite, and also learning management system, iSpring Learn. If you would like to know more details, please feel free to contact us. We will be happy to assist you. I wish you a nice rest of your day and see you at the next session.